vision, Jesus risen from the dead like Horus in the Baptist church, shaking off the rigor mortis. The border should be illegal instead of the people that were here before the Bible and all of its sequels.
Now, just to show the African origins of a lot of the literature, the prophets in the scriptures, here we go. And the sons of Ham, Cush and MIZRAIM, which is Egypt, Cush, Ethiopia, PUNT, which is Somalia, and Canaan. And the sons of Cush, Seba and Havilah. So that right there shows you that Havilah is the son of Cush. And it says, and a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from this it was parted and became unto four heads. The name of the first is Pison, that which compassed the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. The gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and the onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon, the same is that compassed the whole land of Ethiopia. The name of the third river, Ethiopian, that is which goeth towards the east of Assyria, and the fourth river is Euphrates. And Cush begot Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord, and the beginning of his kingdom was Babylon, Erech, Akkad, Calneh, and in the land of Shinar, which is Sumer. So it shows that the Cushites took knowledge in the Mesopotamia. Nimrod, the Cushite, took it into Mesopotamia. He started Babylon. He started Shinar, which is Sumeria. Now, another thing was Nimrod. See, most of the, if you go into the Islamic, Christian, Judean background, they want to make Nimrod an evil individual. They do. They do. They do. And you know why? Because it says that he conquered Mesopotamia and his father was Cush. That's the only reason why they do it. Okay then, let's go on here. It says, in the name of the third river, Hiddekel, that is which goeth toward the east of Assyria, and the fourth is Euphrates. And see, this is what you got to see. I got this out of Micah 5:6. It says, and they went, and they shall waste the land of Assyria with the sword, and the land of Nimrod, the Ethiopian, in the entrances thereof. So what I'm saying is right there, all of that shit, Assyria, that's Ethiopia. The Ethiopians started that. And so I brought that out because a lot of people was trying to say that the ancient Arab, black Arab that was in Mesopotamia, but these are Hermetics. This is according to the Bible. Yeah. Now you know it's bullshit, but we got to use their shit against them. Okay? We're using it against them. So here's Ethiopia. You can easily see that this is the true Garden of Eden. You know, some people is mistaken that somehow Mecca is the Garden of Eden, that Jerusalem is the Garden of Eden. You can't go show this. You can't go show all the animals that's in Africa. We can just show it. You understand what I'm saying? Just show me what makes your land more beautiful than this. This is the most beautiful land on the planet Earth. Not only did humanity come out of Africa, all life, even the animal life come out of Africa. Even the animal life. Here's another map to show you. This is right here is where Mecca is. Mecca is right on the fringe, it's right here. It wasn't no Mecca. It was early controlled by the Hermetics. I'm sorry. It's just a fact.
It is here that our African ancestors from the Great Lakes regions of Africa, as I do in this presentation and civilization, showing where our ancestors migrated down to 4,100 miles of the Nile, where civilization came down the Nile, where our ancestors migrated. It did not come from Mesopotamia into Africa. It came from the heart, because our ancestors said that on the Papyrus of Hunefer, we clearly stated that we came from the beginning of the Nile, where God happy dwelt at the foothill of the mountain of the moon, that being Kilimanjaro and Rwenzori. And it is here we reach the zenith of civilization in the land of Kemet that they call Egypt today. But this is also the land that spoke of in the Bible, in the land of Ethiopia, also known as Cush, ancient names also known as Kish, that a river that we returned back there in 83 and 84, that a river compasses the whole land of Ethiopia, as it speaks of in the Bible, coming from Lake Tana. And here, so we can clearly understand the land of Ethiopia, I have here from the Webster's Dictionary clearly showing Ethiopia, where it clearly says an ancient country in northeastern Africa. And it's interesting, right above Ethiopia it has ethics, the science of man's morals and duties and principles. But we go on to see why I put Webster in there, because in Genesis chapter 2 it clearly told us that, and the name of the second river is Gilhon, the same as it that compasses the whole land of Ethiopia. This is where the Garden of Eden was. Why is it that we could not see Africa in the Bible, the country of Ethiopia? Because we were systematically taught to hate Africa, so we could not see Ethiopia. In fact, even though it says Ethiopia, and it doesn't speak of the Tigris and Euphrates River until the third and fourth river, but it goes on to say to the 15th verse that Lord God made man and put man into the garden. But this is the image that we got. Two white people in the garden. But why is it that we accepted this scenario? Why is it that we accepted this? There are no lions in Europe. There are no crocodiles in Europe. But why is it that we get the backdrop of Africa? Because they know that is definitely the homeland. But the wrong people are in the garden. Why do we have two Caucasoids? Why do we have two Caucasoids in the garden? They do not belong there. They belong in the Caucasus Mountains. And it is here, because of the visual imagery that Europeans have systematically enslaved us, we accepted these images. But now they have a whole new game that is going on today, because they realize that we are starting to realize that white folks shouldn't be in our garden.
All right.
So now in Genesis, King James Version, as I just read, and the name of the second river is Gilhon, the same as it that compasses the whole land of Ethiopia, right?
Right, okay.
That's Genesis chapter 2, verse 13, right?
Right.
But they have changed that up.
So what
Because
is it?
now in the New American Bible it says the name of the second river is Gilhon, the same as it that winds through the land of Cush. Now we know Cush is the ancient name for Ethiopia. But down in the New American Bible, in the footnote at the bottom of the page, it says the land of Cush here is not Ethiopia, but elsewhere, but the region of the Kishites east of Mesopotamia. They have taken Cush, they have now changed that. They're getting ready for the year 2000 and beyond. And they know that they wrote in the Bible in King James Version that Ethiopia was there. Now they have taken it out. Where is Mesopotamia? Here we see Mesopotamia. Here we see Cush in the earlier map showing Cush and Ethiopia right under it. But Mesopotamia is way up here. And what is east of Mesopotamia? The Caucasus Mountains. They have put Cush in the Caucasus Mountains. In the land of the Ashkenaz. I know you had Brother Steve Coakley on last week, and here he talked about the Ashkenaz. These are the European Jews. These are the Jews who came out of the Caucasus Mountains, and now they have put Cush with the Caucasus Mountains.
Oh my God.
We go on to see that even today, in the sciences of anthropology and paleontology, we see that the Ethiopia also has the oldest human fossils, as we see here. A sister that they found called Degnesh, that they call Lucy. There was no Lucy 3.1 million years ago. Her name was Degnesh. Clearly showing the origin of it all, showing that all of us can be traced back to this sister named Degnesh, who lived 3.1 million years ago, to the land of Ethiopia. Not the Caucasus Mountains,
Right.
okay, but back to Ethiopia, the land that spoke of in King James Version of the Bible. But we go on to see that even today, everyone's genealogical mother, they are even saying that it all came from Africa.
Right,
Showing
right.
with the science of paleontology, with a science called mitochondria DNA. Even today, Newsweek have come out with the search for Adam and Eve, and they put an African man and an African woman on the cover.
Right.
But even that story of the serpent and the tree is a distortion.
Right.
Because here, it was not the tree of good and evil. It was the tree of knowledge and wisdom. They stole this concept from the African monuments and temples. Our African ancestors, brothers and sisters, saw the matrilineal system. Keep in mind that all the kings had to come through the line of the woman. Is that right? That's right. What man can say he didn't come from a woman? Please step forward so we can understand where you came from. So our ancestors had no problems understanding that divine principle of that sacred womb where we all came from.
That was the basis and foundation of the goddess principle and the matrilineal system in Africa. And our ancestors saw, in order for the king to rule the throne, like you have Ursa right here, the goddess Sheshat. Here you see her in the tree of divine wisdom, giving the fruit of divine knowledge and wisdom in order for him to rule the throne. It had nothing to do with no tree of good and evil. The patriarchs who came from the north, the Hyksos and others, who had a misogynistic nature, a hatred towards the woman, could not conceive of a woman nor a goddess giving a man anything. And that story was corrupted. The tree of divine wisdom and divine life was corrupted into the tree of what? Because here we have that they created in their biblical stories and the opening of the pages in Genesis that there was Adam and Eve, is that right? And they were not to eat of the tree of what? Knowledge of what? Good and evil. Now who was seduced by the serpent and ate from the tree? Eve. That's why, sisters, you got to watch and you hear that sound. Psst. But anyway, here we see that she was seduced to eat the fruit, and then she seduced who? Adam. Now we are told that that's the reason for the world's sins of this first woman eating of the tree of good and evil, and that that's also not only the reason for the world's sins, but her monthly cycle is to remind her of that sin. This is what's taught in the church. Okay? Now when sisters start jacking that preacher up, who's been equally spiritually enslaved himself, to tell that story, and that we were born in sin, there was no story whatsoever in the Kemetic Nile Valley that we were born in sin. So a few years ago, back in 1988, boy, time is fast. Seemed like I just got this yesterday. Brother and sister showed me, they said, hey, brother, Quasi, you see, there was a black Adam and Eve. Although they made a black Adam and Eve, that has nothing to do with our story. This is what we see the evolutionists and creationists fighting each other, and they know anthropological studies that black people were first, so they put a black Adam and Eve, and gave Adam a jerry curl, and gave Eve a weave. You know, they had to be looking good for each other back then, you know. But it had nothing to do with our story, brothers and sisters. Even though they make it black to make you accept it, this is not still an African story. The African story is the goddess Sheshat giving the fruit of divine life from the tree of divine life and wisdom in order for the king to rule the throne. And this goddess concept was corrupted throughout the whole African Nile Valley, and even in our spiritual subconscious, even today, where we are told that the sisters are the ones, the women are the ones for the world's sins. This is the demonization of women and the hatred of women. This is part of the sexism that you get in the theologians. Even in Paul, it says that women shouldn't even speak in the church. But I'm letting you know that that is not the African spiritual way, brothers and sisters. We had a god and a goddess. That's a spiritual Ma'atian law that our ancestors saw. Okay? So let's understand that there was no rib, by the way, in the African creation story taken from the man to make the woman. That didn't exist. They were created simultaneously. So we did not have no story, but all of us got a navel where the umbilical cord was severed from our mothers, where we all came from. But until we get back to the true spirituality of understanding our divine balance of African men and African women, we'll forever be a victim in somebody else's racist, theological story, and the victimization of sisters where we cannot see our divine balance in the universe. Hotel.
Well, we know Cush is the ancient name for Ethiopia. But down in the New American Bible, in the footnote at the bottom of the page, it says, the land of Cush here is not Ethiopia, but elsewhere, but the region of the Kissites east of Mesopotamia. They have taken Cush, they have now changed that.
What y'all need to know, when it speaks of Cush, when it speaks of Ethiopia, okay? Because in the Genesis story, it's going to tell you that the first two nations that is mentioned is Havilah and Ethiopia. And see, there they go with the revision, because they use Cush sometimes. And most people ain't going to know Cush unless they go into the weed spot. They ain't going to know the Cush. You know what I'm saying? I ain't mad at you, but you know, people get lost and shit, and they're gonna be like, oh, Cush? The name of Cush was derived from Egypt. To the Egyptians, Cush denoted district south of the first cataract. Now, where's the first cataract? Now, the white man gonna tell you that the first cataract is Alexandria. That's what he gonna say. He's a damn lie. The first cataract is down by Aswan. It's down by Aswan, okay? And a cataract is a blockage in the river. It's almost like a fall, but it ain't like Niagara Fall, but you got to take your boat out the water. You got to take your boat out the water, and they got what you call collapsible boats, and they'll walk it down, and then they'll put it back in once it becomes navigatable. You know what I'm saying? And it says right there, inhabited for the most part by races of Nubian origin. Okay? Now this is out of the People's Bible Encyclopedia. But now you got it today in a revision where they're trying to push Cush into Mesopotamia. Mm-hmm. They're trying to push it into Mesopotamia. Okay? Cushion. Now, one of these Mesopotamian kings was named Cushion Chrysanthemum. Okay? And he had conquered the Israelites at one point in time. You can look it up. Judges 3, 8, and 10. But Genesis considers Cushion but another form of Cush by which he understands Ethiopia. See, that's an early 1800 book. See, that's an early 1800 book. See, they don't want none of them kind of books out there no more that's going to connect Cush with Ethiopia and then at the same time connect it, for the most part, by races of Nubian origin. You understand what I'm saying? That's devastating. You understand what I'm saying? Because they always pushing that the Nubians and the Egyptians are two different races. And that the Egyptians enslaved the Nubians. But according to most of this, see this, you know, the Nubians came first.
That's right.
They came first. Okay? It came first, so let us move on. Now, just to show the African origins of a lot of the literature, the prophets in the scriptures. Here we go. Amos 9:7. Are ye not as children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel? It said, let me show you. Are ye not as children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel? It shows you the relationship between the Canaanite and the Ethiopians. Okay? It didn't say, are ye not as children of the Romans, the Greeks, the Europeans? No, it says, are you not as children of the Ethiopians unto me? Down here, Zephaniah 3:10. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my supplements, even the daughter of my dispersed, shall bring my offering. Okay? It says from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. That's the interior of Central East Africa. That's the interior. It says from beyond the Nile rivers. Okay? So we showing you that you can see. Now what a lot of people don't understand, that this material is older than the Bible. Zephaniah. Now this is a prophet, a supposed Hebrew prophet. You go to chapter 1, the word of the Lord which came unto Zephaniah, the son of Cushi. So you got a Cushite. He's a Cushite right there. Zephaniah. You got to call people on that, man. But if a motherfucker don't got no King James Version, y'all motherfuckers want to fall out. Y'all love old King James, man. Queen James. Running around. And here you the origin of the goddamn book. So you in the goddamn book. Ethiopia, now I like this one. Because a lot of times when they show Egypt and Ethiopia together in the Bible, most of the times they put Egypt first. But in this particular verse, Ethiopia came first. Ethiopia came first. Ethiopia and Egypt were her strength, and it was infinite. These are verses that show Egypt and Ethiopia in a glorious light. So the only people that's going to show Ethiopia in a glorious light is Ethiopia. A lot of this shit, they done cut and pasted from older papyruses that came up out of Kemet. You got to understand now, I didn't get a chance to show you a lot of the older manuscripts that they have of the Old Testament and the New Testament. They're all on papyrus, and most of them come up out of Egypt. Egypt was producing a lot of the oldest manuscripts that they have in Judaism and Christianity. I don't know what motherfuckers is talking about. And so when you look at the Gospel of Judas, you see it still got an ankh on it. It still got an ankh on it. So that's showing you that they basically, they revising, they cutting and pasting. You understand? Just like they do with the Bible today. Can the Ethiopian change his skin or the leopard his spots? And I asked her the same thing. Can the Ethiopian change his skin? As he goes in this motherfucker try to chop the damn book up. You understand? Jesus is the white image. Okay? But the story is a song. Okay? The story is a song. And that and what they call in Christianity, you got to understand that even after 1 AD, that shit ain't Christianity. That's to steal the mystery system. Don't know religion. People don't just drop a religion one day, you know, and then wake up today and a whole population just accept a new religion. It's a gradual thing. So that's why Theodosius and Justinian, they closed the mystery system, because as long as the mystery system was open, then Egypt would control the spiritual minds of the people. So that early shit, that ain't Christianity. They calling it Christianity. And that's why motherfuckers can't understand it. And finally, when they seen that the Jesus concept would not take a hold, their last resort was to close the mystery system. So Christianity didn't it didn't pop off, man, really and truly until Constantine, the Council of Nicaea. That's when the Western Christianity that you know of today came into being. Now, this whole, how you pronounce it, Hosea, chapter 11. When Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son up out of Egypt. Okay? That's Israel. Called my son up out of Egypt. Everybody coming up out of Egypt. You understand what I'm saying? Herodotus coming up out of Egypt. Moses coming up out of Egypt. Abraham coming up out of Egypt. Pythagoras coming up out of Egypt. All of these peoples they do not get any type of religious being religiously esteemed unless they got a connection to Egypt. And so you got to quit letting motherfuckers explain Egypt to you. And you must explain Egypt to yourself. This is your history. The white man do not want our people to know their true history. Because a king is not going to accept working for no other man. Either you're a king or you're not. Okay? So in that time, any Greek or Roman, wherever black people live, they call that land Ethiopia. Fuck out of here, white boy. We know what the hell is going on. And so right here it says, and Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. But not, see, this is in Numbers chapter 2. This right here is in Exodus. This talks about how Moses fled after he killed Pharaoh's soldier. He fled and he went into the land of Midian. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water. And okay then, let's go through. And Moses was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter. Now you see, right here he says the priest of Midian. She's from Midian, but up here she's Ethiopian. Midian is only a tribal identification. It's not racial. All of them peoples was Ethiopians over there. Okay, they recognized them as Ethiopian. So this is the land of Midian. So that right there, I mean, they're showing you that they try to put these little lines up here to make you think that this is where the people stop. That's bullshit. Ethiopians all on the other side of what you call Arabia. There is no fucking Arabia. All of that was ran by the Nile Valley Africans thousands of years before any of them damn religions came on the scene. Period. And they know that. And it's still evidence out here. They still got Egyptian temples all over there. They're not going to tell y'all about it. They might not be in the best condition, but they're there. The documentation is still there. So right here, this is a map showing you, right here, this is Cush, okay? Seba, Sheba, Ramah, Havilah, Dedan, these is all Hamites. And it shows right here, Canaan, Hamath, Heth, Shinar, showing that the Cushites had went all over there. See, they putting this, see, this is the lie, the Shem shit. That's the lie, okay? Because it's only one man, original man, that's the African. So if you ain't an African, I don't give a fuck, whatever you call yourself. You didn't deviate it, one way or another. You didn't deviate it. Okay, so the original is the African. So we showing you that you can see. Now what a lot of people don't understand, that this material is older than the Bible. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of the information, just like you watch religion as it develops today. Religion comes out of religion, comes out of religion. You borrow from your mother. You borrow from your father. So I don't want no motherfucker talking about you come up with a pure religion. That the motherfucker just dropped out of the sky, ain't no development, didn't borrow nothing, just totally pure. That's bullshit. Religion come out of religion, come out of religion. So what I'm showing you is that the Old Testament is the first cut they put on the metal netter, the mystery system is one of the first cuts. But yet it's still, you can't throw it all away, because when you got Ethiopia being praised like that, you got to hold on to that portion. If we saying that if they took from up out of the Nile Valley, then of course then some of that must be sacred. Now we're not respecting the stories that are around these teachers, but we see right here that the Ethiopians are revered in the book at some places. In some places, it's not. And so, you know, we know the other shit they hating on us. But they could not erase all of the praise that they had for the Ethiopians. You don't hear them giving praise to the Arab. These people don't even goddamn exist. Ethiopia exists on the first book, which means it existed before the first book. Okay then.